hoy, he's Straw, I'm Parker, and together we are the Battle Hammer. Air horns for days. Today, I'm going to be doing a little bit of an unboxing with this box from Lost World Exodus, Pride of the Nekomata. Don't know exactly how it's pronounced. I'm trying to do my best approximation. Nekomata. So I think it's on the ko and the ta. Let me know if I'm wrong. Probably am. This is for Lost World Exodus, but it can also be used in Wild West Exodus, which I'm sure you know is one of our favouriteest games here at the Battle Hammer. This is a new posse. It's for the the Empire in Lost World Exodus. They can also be used in the Warrior Nation for Wild West Exodus, and you can use them in Outlaws in a certain way as well. Now, this guy looks like a bit of a lion. Oh, so that's cool. This is a hotly anticipated set for this. There were spoilers for it like 2 years ago now, but finally out and ready to be seen. I've taken off the shrink wrap already, but that's all, because the shrink wrap was shiny on the camera, so I didn't want it there. That was all. So I'm going to unbox them, show you what you get in the box, then I'm going to put them together. I'm not going to film me putting them together because I am ridiculous and I have to pin everything, so that's going to take ages, so I'm only going to do that off camera. But I'm going to open them up. Here we've got the Lost World Exodus, so that's just the sleeve. I'll go through who they are in a bit. Actually no, I'll show you now. So we've got this lion dude who looks like a lion called Komanu Rayon. We've got this kind of panther looking dude called Kenzai Hyo. This lady is Urona Chitai, seems to have a bow and arrow of some type. Well, this guy's got a sword on his back, this guy's got some nunchucks. This guy down here is Toroko Kan. Looks like he's got some kind of fist spikes and a couple of swords on his back. This young lady is Yama Mimi. Looks to have like a pair of kami or something like that. Very cool. And lastly, but by no means leastly, we have Ichiko Kuga, who's got a couple of swordy type things. I am predicting heavy melee, considering we've got one ranged weapon, and there might be a couple of thrown weapons in there, but heavy on the melee. We have seen the rules on the website. If you want to go to Wild West Exodus, just Google Wild West Exodus and go to the unit cards. You'll find the unit cards online. They are very heavy in melee. They've all got like if you play them as the posse, they get dispersed deployment, which means they can start on the board rather than in the deployment zone. No more than 12 inches or no less than 12 inches away from the enemy. So they're like an ambush team predators, if you will, with heavy melee, and they get in there and chop stuff up. Good times for all. So we'll show you a bit. We've got the Lost World Exodus version of their standard box, which is green with silver rather than red with gold, which we like. And then in the box we've got a bag o' bases. Standard Warcradle bases. We've got 2 of the small ones and 4 of the medium ones for the characters that you get in the set. I like that you get little magnet holes. I don't magnetise my bases yet, but I'm kind of getting tempted to. Will I be tempted? Yeah, well, I am tempted. We've got 3, I was going to call them puffer bags, but that's not what they're called at all. Bubble wrap bags, which have the resin miniatures. These are resin miniatures. If you're not used to resin, then that's a thing that you're going to have to deal with. But we like resin here, or rather I like resin. always double check the bag, because you might get a little thing here like broke off and not damaged in any way, but it's a little face. So double check your bags before you throw them away. I'm just going to do a bit of a zoom. There we go. So this looks to be the lion guy and part of another dude. As we're used to by now, lovely detail on the Warcradle resins. Rawr. Rawr. Liking the kind of scaled armour. Not scaled, but it's that kind of, you know, vibe. Got a pair of crossed swords there and a leg. We've got a sword and this kind of hand spike that we were looking at earlier on. Some nice fur detail. Some nice fur trim on the shoulder. Nice. And then we've got another pair of swords. So we had the katana, paired katanas, now we've got paired wakasashis, and we've got a big glove. For, I think that's for the lion. Oh. And another gauntlet spike for stabbing. And there's the face that we saw earlier on. It's all about the face, about the buttery face, the buttery biscuit face. So that, I think, is going to be the lion dude and one of the other dudes with the gloves. So we've got in this little baggie. I would keep these like they're bubble wrap, you know, bubble wrap's useful. Don't take a huge amount of space. If you're sending anything via the medium of post, then you can keep them and use them for stuff. Oh, here we've got a cute little animal with little legs and a little tail. I mean, if I was so inclined, it almost makes me want to say Schnarf. Very cute. I'm guessing that goes with this character. Yes, indeed it does. Got like a disc of throwing. A lady with some scroll cases and a long stick with a hook on the end, because who doesn't want a hook stick? We're definitely seeing some of this kind of detail in with the Nekomata. This kind of like a blade with tick tick tick, like ticks down it almost, with extra hooking for extra hooking. And we've got some kind of, I don't know if this is, almost looks like a script or a symbology or something like that. Liking this kind of filigree type stuff that we're seeing on the Nekomata, which I think is going to be indicative of what we'll see coming from more of the Empire. Kind of like this detail here, which is nice. And then lastly, by no means leastly, we've got another bag. And here we've got a big boy. He's the big boy with the nunchucks. He's a honking dude with a straddle. And then we've got lots of parts for throwing and whatnot. Oh, there's the nunchucks. And someone kind of leaping off a thing. That's cool. We've got a couple of heads. I was getting a bit concerned that we only had the that we were missing someone, but we're not. It's just there's lots of little parts that was distracting me. We've got a head and another head. And a body of someone jumping through the air firing a bow. Whew, very cool. So I'm going to give all these... Oh, and a little body part. I'm going to give all these a wash now, because I think you should always wash your resin. I've never had any problems with Warcradle resin having like sticky goo on it or anything, but it is always worth washing your resin if you can, just in some hot soapy water, not too hot, just warm soapy water with a little toothbrush. Be careful, you don't want to break anything, but it's just, I think it's good practice. Stops you from getting any residue from the casting process, if there was any, or even finger grease from the packaging process or whatever. Just worth giving them a little wash, and then you know they're fine to glue and paint, and you won't get any. Sometimes I've got resin from other companies, and you spray on some undercoat, and for whatever reason it doesn't want to stick to that shoulder or that knee, and that's usually because there's some release agent on there or something, like some oil or something like that, which you could have washed off. So I'm going to give these a wash, and I'm going to put them together. I'm going to pin them because pinning is winning. You should always pin if you can. Just trust yourself a little bit more and pin stuff, and then we'll show you after that. See you in a little while. Okay, so here we have the Pride of the Nekomata. Nekomata. Then these dudes are put together. Let's start with the boss. Kenzai Hyo. Nope. Kumanu Rayon. Looking very cool with his glove of crushing, his sword, his lovely mane of hair. Some lovely detail on the armour there. On a medium base, ready to stealth up and chop your opponents into tiny bite-sized cubes. Very cool. These all went together a dream. The only one which I found a bit fiddly was this one. This is Ichiko Kuga, and she's got the little puppy, kind of snarfy puppy with her. Her waist kind of came in about 3 different pieces, where her leg meets her other leg meets her body. That was a bit fiddly, but it's fine. Nothing glue couldn't do. But really cool pose, that running with that staff, that spiked staff, very cool, and the little schnarf alongside of her. Wicked, lovely model. Again, lovely details. Loving the kind of, almost looks like script on her little crotch dress, I guess you'd call it, and the side of her hip there as well. Good stuff. Here we have Kenzai Hyo, the big boy. He's also on medium base. They're mostly on medium bases, apart from a couple of them, with his nunchucks. One kind of tucked under his armpit, very kind of Bruce Lee stylings. Proper cool dude. Here we have Tora Kokan, I think that's that, with his kind of grr pose, with his almost like Wolverine pose, with his kind of gloved claw things. I really like how the katanas and the wakizashi kind of cross over each other. That's really cool. That's one thing to be aware of when you're gluing them into place. I did a couple of dry fits just to make sure I was doing them the right way. I didn't want to glue one on and then not be able to get the other one in the right place. But proper cool looking dude. We have Yoruna Chitai with her bow and arrow, doing a little leapy, shooting someone. Very cool. I did pin these to the base I did actually have a slight issue that happened in transport, which I will be totally open and honest about. This ankle, for whatever reason, snapped. I don't know if it was, packaging. I don't think it was packaging. They're normally really good. I imagine it happened in transit, because these things sometimes do. But there was a break there. I just pinned. Luckily, the leg's thick enough that I could pin it fairly well, and that's not going anywhere. And I've pinned it to the base as well. Pinning is winning, so I'm not worried about that breaking or anything now. Very solid. The break was so nice that you can barely even see it, so that was good. And lastly, but by no means leastly, we have Yama Mimi doing this kind of leaping off of a thing pose with her kind of cool kami type weapons. Yeah. And again, once you pin them to bases and stuff, I always try and pin as much as I can, just in case, because glue can be a funny old thing. It can last forever until it doesn't, and then it just falls off for no reason. And if I drop them or anything, then you don't have to. I like doing it, to be honest. I'm a bit weird like that. I think the only thing I didn't pin were a couple of bits on her waist where I was worried that I'd get the pin in the wrong place, but otherwise absolutely fine and properly sturdy now as well. Looking very cool. So I'll throw a little spin up. You can see that. So here we have the Pride of the Nekomata. A little group pic as they spin around looking all cool. Great models, as I'm sure you'll agree. Lovely poses, really interesting sculpts. Very different from the stuff we've seen from Wild West Exodus so far. They are obviously not cowboys, but very cool nonetheless. I'm sure they'll be really fun to paint when I eventually get round to them after all of the many other things I have to paint. But really cool, really nice to see something so different coming out of Warcradle with Lost World Exodus, Wild West Exodus, and I'm sure they'll be dastardly on the table as well, given their dispersed deployment and crazy melee stuff. So thank you to Warcradle for letting me do this unboxing. Massive shout out to everyone there for being awesome people, and creating lovely minis again. If you want to help the channel out, we've got various ways you can do that. We've got affiliate links and such like in the description below. We do have a Patreon account. If you want to donate as little as $1 a month, we would be most appreciative. It does all go back into the channel. We don't do it for the money, but it takes money to do, as they say. But if you do nothing else, if you do no other things with your entire life, make sure you do this one thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked it and want to subscribe. If you don't like it and don't want to subscribe, you don't have to like and subscribe, but we would like it if you liked and subscribed. And until next time, stay hammered.